Hi, welcome to Statics. This is Quentin McCrae. I'm going to be your instructor this semester, and I'm looking forward to the class. I'm going to do today what we would normally do the first day in person, which is go over the website, go over the syllabus and all those things, and kind of introduce you to the class. So hey, let's start here on the course website. So here is the course website. Welcome to Statics. So right off the bat, there is an introductory video online. That is this. That is what you are watching. So hopefully you've already seen that, but you can watch that at any point in time. What on a normal first day in an in-person class, I would come in here and go through like the syllabus. So let's start with the syllabus. Let's come over here to the syllabus over here. For Canvas, the syllabus will bring up a detailed calendar, but I actually put a link here of the actual syllabus. So let's bring up the syllabus. Here we go, and I'll just see if I can make this big enough that you can see it well enough. Okay, so again, I'm Quentin McCrae. Here's my email address. With my email, you are welcome to email me through there for things not related to this class. I want a letter of recommendation or something like that. But in general, with that email, please email me for this class through Canvas, through the Canvas email system. It actually amazes me how many times I get emails directly to this email that say, I'm stuck on problem 3 and I have no idea which class they're in, and so it's kind of hard. So go ahead. This is not off limits, but think of this more for other things. As far as for this class, go ahead and go through the Canvas. Office hours, I'm in SI 231. This semester, these are my office hours. They're going to change every semester, so it just depends on what happens. I do have what I consider an open door policy. I have to put it in quotes because I actually usually have my door closed because I don't like my back to an open door. But at any point in time, you can come by and just knock. You can call. If you call on this number, and if I'm there, then I'll answer. If I'm not, I won't answer. So you can call at any point in time if you want to. Coming here, this is the big takeaway from this. The text for this thing, it's Vector Mechanics for Engineers Statics 12th edition. So we just recently moved to the 12th edition. So the deal is this, that I personally have seen the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th editions. They're all good. Statics honestly hasn't really changed ever. And so you can use any edition that you want, but the homework assignments are going to be are going to be done from the 12th edition. Now, having said that, the homework assignments are posted online in digital format. So what I would encourage you to do is just, whatever's cheapest. Get a good deal on I'm guessing that probably 10th and 11th editions are the ones that people are going to be able to find nowadays, but just go ahead and buy whatever is cheapest. The objectives of this class is to teach engineering students to analyze static structures. Now, I say static, and in reality, it's actually non-accelerating. So constant velocity, there's, 1 or 2 problems in the homework set that are under constant velocity because that's still technically a statics problem. But for the most part, it's things that are not moving. And we're going to start with an introduction to vector algebra, get into the whole, vectors, vector math and whatnot, and introduce particles and then whole rigid bodies, and we're going to go from there. It's a great class. It's a great baseline kind of stepping off point for lots of other classes that you'll take throughout your college career. Grading policy. For this class, here's the way it's going to work. There are basically 3 sections. There's the homework assignments. The homework assignments are going to be worth 15% of the grade. Now, the homework problems are going to be assigned, as I said, from the 12th edition of the book. You can use any edition you want for the content, but you need to do the homework from the 12th edition of the book. It'll come over here into if you go under the assignments, there's actually multiple ways to get there, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But if you look at, say, Chapter 2 homework, here's the homework, but on every homework, so that here are the problems that are due, and on every homework there's this PDF file, and this is the actual assignment right here. So you're welcome to print this off, do it, actually just write it on here. That would be a lovely way to do it. If you do it digitally, you can, if you use your, if you use a tablet or something, you can do it actually on here and submit it digitally. We'll talk about those different options. But that's the deal with the homework. The due dates. There are, we're going to need to bring up a schedule. There are due dates posted in Canvas. Okay, these are to help you know where you should be at any point in time. The real no kidding due date is when we take the test for that section. So if you can turn in, if you turn in after the quote unquote due date, and if it'll mark it as late on Canvas, that's fine. You're not going to get deducted. It doesn't matter. but you have to turn it in before the test, or else it simply won't allow you to turn it in. As far as turning it in goes, you can either give it to me in person. If in-person class, you can hand it to me. The paper copy, you can turn it in digitally. You're welcome to create a PDF file. I do not want a whole bunch of JPEGs or anything like that. Don't give me 20 pictures of pages that you took. There are lots of apps that come on smartphones nowadays that you can take the pictures and convert it into a single PDF file. So you can do those things. Now, as far as the grading of the homework, I won't grade it for right or wrong. I'm basically going to go through and look and see how many you did. So that goes to, you need to grade it when you turn it in. So I need on the front page a big old, circled or box thing that says I did 15 out of the 20 problems, or I did 18 out of the 18 problems. The reason I have you do that is, again, if we come over here and look at some of these problems, like this is a good example, right? The order is not always super obvious. It makes sense based on how we're teaching it. But if you went through and started with number 10 and then did number 17 or 13 and then 17, I might not catch it. And so if you write, I did 18 out of the 18 problems, and I will go through, and if I only count up to 17, I can go through and say, oh, okay, yeah, he did this out of order, and I'll give you credit for that. So that's the deal there. The solutions, since I'm not going to grade it for right or wrong, I have provided the solution. So if you come back under here, and here we're going to switch over to the modules, and this is really how we're going to mostly navigate through this course website. So here, let's go to chapter 4 for giggles. So chapter 4, here's the homework problem we just talked about. There are the solutions posted for this. The deal is, I understand that there's a whole interwebs thing that people are going to have access to solutions, and so instead of making it kind of a shady proposition, I figure give everyone access to the solutions. So here's the problem. Here are the solutions. Here's this problem. Here are the solutions. So everyone has access to the solutions. A word of caution on that. It can be very misleading and very deceiving if you have access to the solutions all the time while you're working on your homework and you don't really realize how much you're turning to them. So please use discretion as you use those solutions. I would strongly suggest you spend quite a bit of time on it without access to the solutions at first, and then if you're stuck for a period of time, then that makes sense to switch to look at the solutions. I don't think there's no homework assignment problems that really would make sense to spend 5 hours on. That would be kind of silly. So at some point it's diminishing returns. But if you're stuck on it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe stick with it for a little bit and see if you can get it on your own. It'll mean a lot more to you. Also, as far as solutions, if you come back to the modules page, and again, we'll go over this a little more in depth later, I have video solutions for some of the homework problems where I actually just solve it. If you click on this, we'll go into this in a little bit. But it goes through and actually I solve it in a video. So you have access to this. So this homework assignment says 15% should be a complete, just gimme. It should be free, 15%. You just need to do them all and turn them all in. The next portion are quizzes. Now there's an online quiz for each chapter worth 20 points. You can take these wherever you want. They're obviously open book because I can't enforce that they're not open book. And the deal is you're going to have 2 passes at the quiz and the high scores kept. But be aware that it randomizes a lot of the inputs, and so don't just copy and paste the answer from one thing to the next. You need to do it on paper, make sure you record how you do it, and then go from there. There is unlimited time, but the due date is fixed. The nature of the quiz, we're going to come here to, we'll look at a chapter 4 quiz, for instance. You're going to come in here, and you're going to take the quiz, right? So you can come in here, and here is the quiz, boom. I think the answer is 45, or apparently 54. When you move on to the next thing, it will often put zeros, or I guess if I do 54.1, then it'll throw a whole bunch of zeros on the end. It's not, okay, it doesn't matter. You can go through and do this. I think the answer here is 23, and you can go through and take your quiz, right? Now, some of the quizzes have more images than others. Some of the early quizzes don't have as many images, but that's okay. When you come into here, I can come here and you can come and go as much as you want. The key is that you don't submit. So as soon as I hit submit, boom, it's going to submit it, it's going to grade it, and that's going to be one of your submissions. But you can come and do this as often as you want. So I would strongly suggest early in the chapter, bring up the quiz, start looking at it, seeing how things go. Now, the nature of the beast, though, is after I submit this, if I hit submit, it's going to yell at me saying that a bunch of them are empty, but that's fine. I'm going to be able to see what I got right and wrong, hopefully. Come on. But I won't be able to actually see the answers. And what happens, so this one is due, say, February 9th at midnight. What that means is February 10th at 12 a.m., so the next minute, the solutions will become available, well, the answers, more to the point, will become available. So here I say, hey, this is wrong, but I don't know what it is. Starting the day after it's due, yeah, here it is right here, that the correct answers will become available, which means that I have to be completely inflexible with late submissions to quizzes. So the deal is that I will give 0 time extensions for quizzes, no matter what. Because of that, because there's very real excuses why sometimes people miss things, I will drop the lowest quiz score. But please be aware that it will be completely, there will be no exceptions given for that you need to turn in the quiz on the due date. Okay, and then the last thing are the exams. So the exams are worth 60% of your grade. There's going to be 4 exams, okay, and this is going to be, the way it's going to work is the final or the 4th test, it's going to be, half of it is going to be comprehensive and half of it's going to be covering just the last chapter. So the first 3 quizzes are just going to be covering the things. The deal is that I'm not going to drop the lowest test score. That's kind of important to me, but I will make the lowest test score worth less than the other test scores. So an artifact of that is Canvas is going to show up saying that I dropped the lowest test score. And then what happens is I go through and I manually enter in that test score into I think it's called the lowest test score section on Canvas grades. Okay, so beware, it is not dropped, but it will become worth less. And you can do, when you do your little what-if analysis on the Canvas, you can go do that yourself. You're going to be allowed to use the 3x5 card of notes, but it is closed book, closed notes, except for that 3x5 card. You can use a calculator, obviously, and you can use whatever calculator you want. The deal on the tests is that they will be very much like the homework problems. I'll just gratuitously take some homework problems likely for some of the tests, and other ones I'll take versions that are very similar to it. So if you go through, and in the book there's like 100 and some odd problems for every chapter. If you go through and you study each one of those and you have them down, you know what? You deserve to ace the class. Good on you. Congratulations. From a realistic standpoint, to prepare for the tests, I would just really say just become very comfortable with the homework. Do the homework, get to the point where you can do it without thinking a whole lot about it. Look at the homework video solutions when there's a problem from the video solutions and whatnot. That should really help you with the exams. Okay, grading scale, it's a standard grading scale, and I don't really think there's much else to say on this. So there you go, there's the syllabus for the class. We got to come back here, way back to here. There is a schedule, so if you come back to the syllabus tab, if you will, there is a schedule for the class. I'll bring this up just real briefly. This is going to change every semester, but it should show the basic idea of the class. So the way it's going to work is the quizzes are generally due on Sunday night at midnight. Not all of them. The last quiz is usually going to be due kind of like a weird time here, but generally the quizzes are going to be due these days. We will always try to do a review for the test, an in-person review for the test before the actual test. Online folks, if you want to come to that, please come to that. It should help a lot. And that's the basic thing. The schedule can change. Be aware. Keep your eyes out for announcements on Canvas for that. And now let's come into Canvas. And so now we're going to come back to here. And so the deal is on Canvas, this class is set up to use modules. So here's some of this early stuff. Here's an introductory quiz. We'll talk about that. But really, I want you to use the modules. And so if you click over here on where to go, modules right here, or I have a link here, it goes to the same place. This is how this class is set up. So here's an introduction. This is what we're watching right now. There's a introduce yourself assignment. So if you click on this assignment, I want you to do this early on. Come in here, put a picture. So you have a little picture, but please attach a larger picture so that I can actually put faces to names. Do a little bit about yourself, where you're at school and whatnot. and go ahead and post that here. And that is due early on in the semester. Also, we have an introductory quiz that's going to be due early on in the semester. And it's the same basic idea. We're going to take this quiz. The deal with this quiz, you can take it as many times as you want. Take it as many times as you want. And I'm going to come in here and say, well, yep, I'm going to do these, and I'm going to do that, and this. I'm not looking at any of these things. And this is just, I want you to spend the time to poke around the website so that you can find the answers for these things and do your stuff, hit submit. It's going to say a bunch of them unanswered. And it's going to give you some notes on this. You know what? Here's the answer. Go back, take it again. Put in the right answer. I want you to take the time to get this thing right so that you can go through and be comfortable with how the course is set up. Okay, so that's the deal on there. That's this beginning introduction thing. But then we start getting into chapter 1's a little bit of an anomaly. So let's jump to chapter 2. So there's going to be a PowerPoint presentation. This is the actual PowerPoint file. You can download this file. And then for every chapter, there's going to be a video lecture. And the way it's going to work is it's a YouTube playlist. And so you can see here, yours won't come up looking like this because this is me logged in as me. But let's hit play all, and this is, I think, where you're going to come in looking like this. Luckily, it's muted because it freaks me out to hear my own voice on a video of a video. Weird. But so the idea is this, like here is some lecture, here's a couple examples, here's a little more lecture, here's another example, lecture, example, and so on. And so we go through like this. So this playlist is what we would do in class, right? It's a few problems, a few lectures, and so on. So please take the time to go through and watch those videos. So that's going to be the video lecture, and then we get into the homework, like what we just discussed. You click on this homework, we already showed you this one. Here's the homework problems, here's the PDF file that contains the homework problems. Here are some of the homework videos that I've made. If you look here, this again, it's the same deal. I made a playlist. So for chapter 2, here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some videos I made for chapter 2. You can go through and just pick which, again, I think your configuration will come up like this, but it's still the same. You can come in here and say, hey, I'm stuck on 63. Let's look at 63. What's the deal? Oh, okay. And then you can watch the video. And this is me. I'll try to jump ahead a little bit. This is me actually solving it on a tablet. And so it's like, this is how I solved it. The nature of a lot of these things is there's multiple ways to do it, but this is the way I do it, which can be helpful because, quite frankly, when I write tests, when I write problems, if you understand how I think, it might help you to approach it a little bit better. So there we go. That is coming back here. Okay, so on the modules we have the PowerPoint file, the lecture, the homework, some videos on the homework, the solutions, and then we have the quiz for everyone. And then for most of these we have a sample exam. So the sample exam is a little bit misleading. The deal with this is, at one point in this class has been taught there's a test after every chapter. And so here's a test for chapter 2. Now, quite frankly, our first test is going to have more than one chapter in it, so it's not going to have all this stuff. But this is a good sample, and the big thing that's advantageous here is it actually gives you the answer, but not the solution. And so the key here is you can go through and take an effort to do it yourself, and then you can check and see if you got the right answer. So big picture, the way this class is set up, we're going to come back here to, well, the way this class is set up is you have the homework problems. Okay, the homework problems, you have unlimited time, you have the answers, access to the answers, you got just time to do it right. Then you have the quizzes. The idea of the quizzes is stepping up a little bit, right? Now you don't necessarily have the answers, but you still have pretty much unlimited time. You can take as much time as you need. You can go through, you can ask people around, and you can go through and do the quizzes. And then it leads up to the tests. And now all of a sudden you have a limited time, and you can't ask other people around. And that's the idea of the test. So the idea of these sample tests, and the reason I will not post the solutions to the sample test is if I post the solutions to this just literally becomes another homework problem. And you already have plenty of homework problems. You don't need to have any more of those. This gives you a chance. Can I actually do this on my own? Take the time. Give yourself a time limit. Say, hey, can I do this in the amount of time that I have? And do I get the right answer? So there you go. That's for most of the chapters. There is a sample test on those. Again, they're basically just homework problems from the chapter, but that's what we're looking at. So there you go. That's the course website. Coming back here to the beginning, you're welcome at any point in time to poke around this way. You can go straight to the modules is the preferred way to get around, or you can go straight to the assignments and say, hey, here's some assignments. I'm going to show by type just because this is how I'm used to looking at them. Apparently there are no assignment groups, which that's actually not true, but what do you do? This is set as a student view, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm going to leave student view, and then I'm going to come in here, and this is how I'm used to seeing things. So here are the assignments, here's the homework, here's the quizzes, and then the tests are going to go through, and I'll put in the information from the test, and then here's that lowest test score, which is worth less of your grade. Anyways, so there we go. I'm looking forward to this class. It's a great class. It's actually a super important class. It's going to be a challenging class for a lot of people. A lot of times it's the first time you've really hit a real, true, hard engineering course, but it's definitely doable. Please come and see me at any point in time. I'm more than willing to help with really anything that you're working on. Please don't get stuck and stalled out on things because you don't have resources. Work together. Working together is super helpful. It teaches the person who is explaining to someone, it gives them an advantage because as you're teaching it, it becomes clear to you. The person who's receiving that information, hopefully it's helpful for them to get over things. And so definitely work together, and good luck. Oh, the last thing here is this testing section. So if you're in the online class, when it comes time for the tests, if you come here, they've changed the online testing center. So if you go to their website here, it goes through and it gives you the information on how to set up to take a test. You do have to make a reservation. The tests are generally are available Wednesday through Friday. Follow the schedule to see what's available there. Okay, good luck, and we'll talk to you later.